Okay. So the Volta Solar is a closed emitter, and ultimately everyone chooses the emitter style that they prefer. The challenge with an open emitter is you have to account for weather. And so I've been to matches where it's been downpour, and if you had an open emitter, you would have an issue with water on your diopter, which is going to starburst, and you're not going to have a clear optic. Because I run that closed emitter, I've never had a problem at all with weather at matches.
The moment where my gear made the difference, you know, a lot of these higher end optics, if you drop them, bump them, whatever the case may be, you know, you're gonna lose zero really quick. And I've had plenty of scopes where that happens. And I think the one that kind of sold me was I was using a Wolverine on my Scar 17, which is known as an optics eater, an optics killer. And through a couple thousand rounds, held zero. And literally as I'm filming this review video, Scar falls off the table, takes a tumble, optics get a big scrape in it. I'm like, this is gonna be useless. Pick it back up, shoot it, same point of aim, point of impact, no difference. And I'm like, okay, that works.
Moment when my gear made the difference. I know with both those two that I told you, the thermal and the Wolverine, the batteries have lasted a long time. I know when I turn it on, it's going to be right on. It's not getting out of whack and having to recite it in all the time. I've been pretty happy about that so far.
I don't have a specific moment that made a difference, but I've been hauling that Presidio around for almost a year now on several different guns, and it's just never let me down. It's never lost zero. It's never failed to do exactly what I tell it to do. If I dial 7 mils or just leave it at 100 yards, it's always where it needs to be.
So I would say one area where the gear definitely made a difference is, so I'm mainly doing long range shooting. That's my forte. And you start getting mirage. So we're shooting out to a mile, 2,000 yards, and the mirage is very difficult. So running the spotting scope, you've got I think it's a 80 millimeter objective lens. So it really opens up and lets light come in. You're able to see through that mirage quite a bit. So being able to see those impacts with smaller calibers like 308 and 6.5 at a mile is all the difference in the world. A lot of times I'm actually out there spotting for myself, so I'm putting my camera onto the spotting scope and I'm having to come back and look to see where my impacts are. That makes a huge difference. So it actually makes hitting those ranges very successful.
I was, so this past year, deer hunting, I was pushing for my brother-in-law. He was out in the field in a blind, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna push through this woods, see if I can push something out to you, because we hadn't seen anything. Early on in the day, I had seen 2 does way out. So I went to lunch, he was still out there, I came back and was pushing, and popped a doe up. She was hopping through the woods on me, and I kept trying to cut her off, pushing her out into the field for him. Finally, she ran up the hill and stopped, and I had my gun slung. I wasn't trying to fire at that point at all. I was just pushing this woods. I'm out of breath, I'm hurting, I'm kind of, trudging, I've got all my gear on. She stops, elevated to me, clear shot. I turn, pull up, take the shot, and I dropped a really nice doe this year. So I had the Presidio 1-6 on and was able to get right on target, clear glass, great shot, dropped her. Even with a kind of awkward positioning, having to go, angle shot, I was able to get a clear spine shot and drop her without causing too much damage.
So me and my buddy, we were out hunting, and he uses thermal and I use IR, and he couldn't tell if it was a dog or not. So I pulled up and was able to clarify that yes, that was a coyote, 200 yards out.